In case you missed it, your host Kayla Blakesley is at it again. What did she say this time? Tune in to find out right now.
I want to go ahead and get right to it this morning because we've got a lot of ground to cover with Allen County Commissioner Ron Turpin. He's joining us live this morning here in studio. Good morning, Ron. How was your drive in with all the rain?
It was cracking.
Yeah. Was there any hail yet? Any fierce wind?
Not hail. Okay. However, it was a lot of heavy rain. However, we need the rain. So
bring it on,
okay
right?
With it. That's right.
Well, listen, we're going to get a lot more rain today and tomorrow off and on. So ask and you shall receive, Commissioner Turpin. But I want to start with something that you guys are actually doing every Tuesday, your community conversations. And I've told you before here on the show, you just launched them at the beginning of the month, but I really like this concept because, instead of government telling people, y'all are actually asking to hear from residents. Again, full transparency when it comes to local government. Who knew? What a great concept and idea. But you're actually going into the community and saying, hey, come find us, come ask your questions, share your concerns. You had your first community conversation last week here in Fort Wayne. You've got another one coming up tonight. First and foremost, how did last week's go, it being your first one?
I thought it went really well. We had over 40 people show up at Fox Island. We had 20 different county departments, elected officials, and really it was a great conversation about, I walked through a presentation, 20 minutes or so, about where we're at in Allen County, the growth we have, some big issues that are before us, and then really afterwards we let people just mix and mingle. I had a number of people ask me questions about everything from the quarry to different things. There's a big RV park being discussed now.
We haven't even
that came up, and one couple came up to me and said, hey, we'd like you to come out and take a look at that, and I'm going to come out this Thursday and walk the property, talk to the landowners around there. And so that's what this is designed to do, is to really me come to you instead of you all coming to me. And so for the month of August, it's something new we're trying every Tuesday in August. It was Fox Island last week. Tonight will be Woodburn, and then we'll do the St. Joe Community Center the following Tuesday, and then New Haven for the last Tuesday of the month. So we're excited about this. We have a great deal of interest from different elected officials and department heads. I did a debrief of them last week, and they all thought it was a great use of time. Lots of citizens coming, asking great questions. So really, how often, Kayla, do you have really kind of all of county government in one place, and you can come in and talk to whether it's a highway issue you have, or whether it's with the police, or it's with surveying, or your property assessment, taxes. Everyone's there. So that's what it's designed to do. So hopefully we have a good turnout tonight, and looking forward to it.
So again, tonight you're in Woodburn. Exactly where and when should folks show up?
Woodburn Community Center starts at 5:30. I start speaking around 5:45, and then it's a come and go after that, but the doors are there till 7. So to basically be asking questions, and we had people last week that were there until 7 talking to different folks. So really that hour and a half time period, I would say you want to be there by 5:45, no later. We try to find places, Kayla, that have at least 100 people capacity.
Yeah.
That way, and it's not as easy as you think when you go outside the city of Fort Wayne. However, we feel pretty good about that. We're going to get great response.
Government in action. Again, what a concept.
It's exciting.
And really, tonight is a pretty busy night for local government. You have that community conversation going on with you there in Woodburn. Also tonight on the southwest side of town, there is a community conversation going down about the Scott Road Railroad crossing. And this allegedly is the opportunity for residents on that side of town to weigh in on the conversation, to hear about some options that are being pursued. I've heard option number one is getting rid of the railroad crossing entirely there through Scott Road.
That's really an option.
Okay, well, this is what we're here to talk about. There's also talk of an overpass, whether under or over the railroad. So go ahead then and enlighten us. What is going to be discussed? What's on the table tonight?
So this is one where railroads obviously crisscross Northeast Indiana, and the Scott Road area is growing rapidly. And so we've had a lot of residents that have had concerns about, traffic. You have school buses going through, safety issues. And so the federal government is the one that monitors and controls train traffic because it's interstate commerce. So I know you had Mayor McMichael on yesterday, I believe, and it's one of those things that in local government, we don't have a whole lot of control. So not having a train there is really outside of our control. However, the federal government does say that for certain crossings, they're willing to do a grant to help you with traffic control, which is usually an overpass. It's incredibly expensive when you do an overpass.
How expensive are we talking?
We're probably talking anywhere from 25 to 35 million. If you think about it, lots of material. It's not just the Dukes of Hazzard days where you have a little ramp and you go over the railroad crossing. This is one where if you've seen these type of crossings, it's hundreds of feet because you've got to have, the engineers come in and do all their P. It's got to be high enough to have train traffic go through. And really, it's material cost and it's also land acquisition because the county has right of way on both sides of the road, but only a few feet. And so this would be hundreds of feet that you're talking about. So I would just encourage residents who are maybe concerned about this. This is not a done deal. This is not, we are going to do this. This is really, the federal government has given us a grant to explore options. And so tonight is a community conversation about what the options might be and to hear back from the public as to what works or doesn't work for them. And then after we hear public feedback, we'll look at, okay, what could possible? And then ultimately, what works for the federal government to partner with or not. I mean, they pay upwards of 80%, Kayla, of what this is. So this is an opportunity for us to look at options. So I would encourage people, don't freak out that, okay, oh my goodness, they're going to build this thing. We don't know yet. This is really just, again, bringing local government to you to say, here are certain things that we're looking at. We want your feedback as to what works and doesn't. So for folks who are impacted in that area, I'd highly encourage them to go tonight and I think it's at Sunrise Church tonight. And it's unfortunate I can't be there because obviously I'll be in Woodburn. However, I have talked to the highway director that, I want to get a debrief tomorrow morning of how it went and would love to hear from residents of what their thoughts are because this is still a long, long process. And this is step one. So
it's at Sunrise Church tonight. The doors open at 5:30. It kind of all gets underway at 6 p.m. right there off Illinois Road. So I'm with you. If that impacts you, definitely show up to that meeting tonight. There's still another gathering this evening when it comes to local government.
There's a lot going on.
I told you when you sat down. I was like, man, I don't know how to get through all this content this morning. But another meeting happening tonight, and I think this one could be probably the most contentious of the three that are going down. Fort Wayne City Council, they have their typical meeting tonight as they do every Tuesday. And the Homeless Resource Center that's being proposed for downtown at 333 East Washington Boulevard could potentially be back up for a vote. And Commissioner, you and I have talked a lot about this proposed Homeless Resource Center. The county has, been involved in some conversations that we've had here on the show, but there's also been, a lot of talk about funding, location, services, paperwork. I mean, you name it. So let's just start there. What exactly could potentially happen tonight?
Well, my understanding, Kayla, is that this is first a city decision. The county is not involved in the decision-making process on this. And so originally, if you remember, I think Councilman Hartman had put a hold on this until September 1st. My understanding is Councilwoman Chambers is going to ask for that to be discussed tonight. And if a majority of council would agree with that, it would move from tonight instead of September 1st. The thought pattern being is that all the questions have been answered, and that's the issue that I have.
So do you feel like that?
Well, I mean, to me, again, I don't have a say in it. However, if I was a council person, we talked a lot about location and services and those type of things. To me, it is coming back to I'm a finance guy. That is where I've spent my entire career at, been on 30 nonprofit boards, been treasurer of a lot of them. I think there's a lot of questions on the numbers. And this is one that if you say yes to this, the city now owns it. The city builds the facility. The city is going to, yes, there's a nonprofit that's there, but the city is subsidizing it. The city is supporting, the structure of it. There are a lot of questions, Kayla, that have to be answered, which is, what's the actual capital stack look like to build this thing? We are building a jail right now. We had to show council a capital stack before we did it. I'm getting ready to go to county council tomorrow night and talk about the first phase of our Meyer Road project. And we've got a capital stack we've put together. We're showing here's what all the different things are. I've never seen that for the Homeless Resource Center. So yes, they're asking for $2.7 million. However, that can't be what the cost of this thing is to do. So what's the cost look like long term? And it's even things like, Kayla, the public may be aware that the county settled $1.1 million lawsuit on Friday with a death that happened in the jail. There will be lawsuits out of this Homeless Resource Center going to happen. Is the city prepared for that? Do they have reserves for that? What does that look like? So to me, there's lots of questions that if I was a city council person, I'd really be asking because, taking care of the least of these is a good thing. And this is one that, we all could agree that we need to do something about those that have addiction, that have mental illness, that are homeless. I want to do something. You want to do something. And there are a number of things we can do. We have 2,000 nonprofits in this community. So let's look at a collaborative thing. And this could be part of a solution. I'm not poo-pooing that. It is really, let's look at the numbers and say, is this the best idea? And is this really a government liability that the city of Fort Wayne can afford to have?
So when it comes to moving up this vote potentially tonight at the city council meeting, do you think supporters think they have the votes, hence why moving it up 3 weeks?
I don't know. I've at the end of the day, there's 6 Republicans and 3 Democrats. I know all 3 Democrats have said they're on board. So you need to get 2 other Republicans to say they're on board. And I've heard everything from there's 3 that are moving to yes, to 2, to 1. I don't know. And I don't know that anyone knows right now. But it's one of those things that, I think if you are a city council person, you need to look at all the pieces of this because you are making a business decision. Are we willing in a time where the city's talking about cutting major services because of property tax reform, you're taking on a potential huge new liability that no one has really quantified well.
And to be frank, we haven't gotten answers to all of our questions and concerns, at least not yet. So, boy, Commissioner, 1 week from today, we're still going to have a lot to talk about because we'll have some
We always do, don't we?
Yes, we do, from some of these meetings. I appreciate you ripping through all of that with us. We'll check back in with you 1 week from today, if not sooner. Let's be honest.
All right. Always good talking to you, KB.
All right. That's Commissioner Ron Turbin joining us live here on Whoa Whoa. Hey, it's KB. As a show of appreciation for listening, use my promo code WOWO for deep discounts on all kinds of products at MyPillow.com. That's promo code WOWO.
Podcasts by Federated Media.